Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or any of you who happen to be attending that aren't either. Tonight, we're talking about being awake, alert, and aware, and how sometimes we can get into trouble without in the least intending to. How easy it is to think that who we're being or how we're being is okay because we know what we mean, so therefore everybody else will. And how assumptions are the death of being awake, alert, aware. So we've got, aren't they?
Yep. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, Helen.
So tonight, Insight Teachings says, hello, darling. Hello, Insight Teachings. So tonight I'm joined by Anita, who's actually living with us at the moment in New Zealand. Orla, who
Hello.
is living in New Zealand, but thank God not living with us. Sonia, who is in Hong Kong and definitely never going to live with us. And Anam, who is living in Queensland and is very happy where she is. Because it means she doesn't have to associate with us. Keeps her safe. So we've got a few Facebook users saying hello. And you'll have to excuse me for not saying hello to you by name because it just says Facebook users, so I've got no idea who you all are. But welcome and thank you for joining us. I was going to do this on Awake, Alert, Aware. And it's interesting how things happen with spirit because this was the topic for last month. And it got changed. It got postponed because there was a lot happening. In the meanwhile, a situation occurred between the three people who own and manage Exploring Intuitive Pathways and Anam, which became a perfect example that we all wanted to share, didn't we?
Yes.
Didn't we, Anam?
Yep. Hi.
We all wanted to share to show how easy we can fall off our perch when we don't in the least intend to. And it shows how spirit can set us up to be exactly where we need to be for what we want to talk about to help each other. So I'm going to allow Anam to say what occurred for her, and then Exploring Intuitive Pathways team are going to respond. But before we do that, I want to clarify something else on the lines of being awake, alert, aware. Hi, Karen. See, we've got a name for Karen. You can say hello.
Karen.
Exploring Intuitive Pathways is completely separate from Insight Teachings and the JTB work, but not separate from the community. So what happens on Insight Teachings and what happens on JTB, that's our stuff. That's what Tony and I do. What happens on Exploring Intuitive Pathways has a foundation based on the teachings from JTB and Insight Teachings, but it's now going to be developed by these three, Anita, Orla, and Sonia, to take it to another level because it needs to, and I'm getting a bit too old for it, according to John. So now let's come back to this Awake, Alert, Aware. Anna, share with us, please, what happened.
You mean everything?
Well, what you feel you'd like to share. Just
Thank you. Okay. All right. Okay then. This was in relation to the Moon Festival. Well, it was like a festival. The Moon meditation that's on offer, which I love. Have to say that it's brilliant. I had a couple of, I was a participant of that, and I had a couple of questions that I wanted to raise. So I sent them off to the team with attention to Orla because she's a facilitator, but the way that they were phrased, the way that they were worded was. It wasn't very nice. It was very direct. It was very, I thought, for me, I thought, I want to ask these questions. They were on my mind for a little while, and I just want to be brave enough to ask them, And so I put them down in the email and I sent them off, and I got a response that showed me that what I had thought that I'd sent, was actually, had a lot of other stuff, my stuff attached to it. The way that I communicate, the way I put things in there, in such a way that, that was misunderstood. It was misunderstood because I was misunderstood. I was misunderstanding myself. You know why? Because I wasn't listening to myself. It was like me, I just want to get these questions out of the way so that I can understand this material, very mental body stuff. Let's just get going. Ask these questions, done and dusted. And there was something that I put in there also in that email that showed to me on reflection 24 hours, because I was thinking about it after I got my response from Orla, that showed me that I was devaluing another. I was actually undermining, is probably a better word. I was undermining Orla's authority, but it was done in a way that wasn't so direct, And but I didn't see that. In the beginning, when I did the email, it seemed like, okay, ask this question. Then I thought, then after a while, getting the response back, then after a while, it's like, what that all of a sudden, I saw a part of myself that had been well and truly veiled, and I got to see it. And I got Orla and the team to thank for that I got a chance to see it, air it, see it. And I'll finish on this note. And it wasn't the whole thing was, it was a very shabby affair, really, and it wasn't kind. So that was my experience.
I'm just going to say, God obviously doesn't agree with you about being shabby, because you've got a thunderclap as you said it.
Oh, you can hear that loud and clear, can you? Oh my God.
So that was them upstairs saying, hey, whoa.
Lose the shabby.
Lose the judgment.
Lose the judgment. Okay, clean up the act. All right. Yeah.
So I think it's only fair for Orla to respond with how it happened, because this is all about being awake. This is the awake phase. Orla.
Yes. So meanwhile, on my side, I received the email, and in the way I responded, I felt it was a response because I had assumed that the way I was communicating was fine because I'm very direct, but also because I kind of had an assumption that if someone knows me at any level and they receive correspondence from me, they'll hear my tone, which of course is completely crazy. So I had that assumption. Therefore, what Anna was getting back from me would have felt to her the way her emails felt to me. So we were actually kind of in the same thing. And that's something that I've learned, is that actually we were kind of both learning a lot about ourselves from each other. So that was one thing. And the other piece was that in a conversation that I'd had with Helen that we'd had, we were talking across purposes. So here's another assumption. She was saying one thing and I heard like the complete opposite. So it meant that the responses I was sending to Anna weren't even based on the advice. It was just complete chaos. But I learned so much about assumptions and how if I start with assumptions, forget it, forget it. It's not going to turn out well. So there was a back and forth that was happening energetically that I hadn't stopped and gone, oh, hang on a minute, what's the bigger picture? I kind of got too much into the what's she saying, what am I saying? So that's what was happening from where I was coming from.
And did Sonia and Anita enter into the fray, fully armoured, of course? No.
No, I would say they didn't enter into the fray. I think there was more like stay back.
They backed off.
Stay back. Watch your stay back.
So here's where the alertness comes in, because Anam was speaking to the entity EIP represented by Orla.
Yeah.
So it was the entity EIP that needed to respond.
Yes.
Because that would then have been a response rather than a reaction to a reaction.
Yeah, true. True. Yeah.
So what's come out of it? What's the awareness that's come as a result? Because we're going to open it up to other people to see what they have experienced. What's the awareness? Apart from not being shabby. I'm sure there's more awareness than that on them.
I'll find another word.
For me, because of I've had my own experiences, if we're not aware of our own stuff, like our own buttons and our own hotspots, then we are likely to react and assume, project, make decisions, interpret, and nothing good can come from that. And for us collaborating, we needed to communicate it as well, and also communicated with Anam. Emails, from just, again, my experience, emails have no tone in them, and you may be giggling and think something's really funny, but how it's received on the other end without that tone, it can be interpreted in a completely different way. So there's lots of ways to communicate, and us three could have communicated and been awake to what's happening, and also communicated, all four of us, with getting clear and finding a different way rather than what we did.
Sonia?
I feel functioning based on assumption is very dangerous.
Yeah.
It's because it's purely emotional body, because the way I see it, I react, like first the way I see it, I react on, and then I will base, and I assume every single body would be like the way how I see it, like my answer. So that is really, really dangerous. There's no awake, alert, and aware. That's just, then we're just like being like a slave to our emotional body. And that's, for me, that's what I really learned about this is communications, because it's not one person, it's everybody contribute. That's, if we don't hear, that's like what Anita talked about, there's no tone. We don't hear, we just make the assumption that what is mean, this, we cannot understand each other. That's for me, is very cold and dangerous for the whole thing. That's what I really learned.
There's no awareness. I think that's a really powerful phrase you used. Functioning from the emotional body is dangerous. We'll get that off the recording. I think that's a really powerful phrase you used there.
It's how war stuff.
Because it's, that stops awareness. Anna, what about you?
Would have been, in retrospect, I mean, a get together, a phone call, all of us on Zoom or something like that, just to talk it out, or, just to see one another. Yeah, that's what we're doing now. But prior to that would have been.
I'll tell you why it didn't happen. Not because they said they didn't want to, but because I suggested that we did it this way. I mean, we've all spoken before we went live. So there was no war declared by the time we went live. But I thought it was good to have it like this as an example for people. How a simple thing like a questioning of something can take us to a place that nobody intended to go. What have we got here? Great understanding that communication via emails can be harsh when a response by an online meeting call can clear things up. Absolutely true, Marianne. Thank you for that. And Amanda, you were showing each other the energy. That's to you and Anam.
Yeah.
Orla.
Totally. Yeah.
Anybody else got any comments that they would like to share? That would be good. And if any of you have any questions around being awake, alert, and aware, that would also be good, because as you can tell, there are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. I can count 5 experts here who are now fully steeped in being awake, alert, and aware. Well, I can retire. So what does it say here? A great example of how to see assumptions and how they trip us up. I don't know who's saying that because I haven't got a name, so I'm sorry. And Elaine says, simply thank you for showing us this. You know, often people wouldn't show something like this because they don't want to look bad. Or, you know, let's keep it quiet, let's tuck it under. But this is, you know, if we want open communication, we've got to be prepared to talk about stuff that's not so good equally as much as we talk about stuff that is good. Otherwise, we don't have open communication, we have censorship. That's a thought, isn't it? We don't like censorship, but we only share what makes us look good or that we feel
comfortable.
good about.
Yeah.
Censorship.
But actually, you learn quicker the other way. You learn. I find like I now that I'm a bit older, I'm much faster now to say mea culpa, oops, because I know that that's actually the way through it. And in the past, that's not who I used to be like. But it works. It keeps things clear.
It is me, Amanda. Hello. It is me, Amanda. What was the trigger to uncover the assumption? That's a good question.
What was the trigger?
Probably the outcome, the unintended
outcome.
Well, have you actually, have the EIP team actually disclosed how you initially intended the outcome to be? What did you actually say to Annam as the final outcome?
Oh, so this is where I got oops. So what we were going to suggest was that, look, if it's not your thing, like if the moon cycle meditation isn't working for you, then that's fine. You don't have to join in. It's your choice. But what actually was said was goodbye. And as Helen said, well, I won't say what Helen said, but she explained to me how it would have sounded to Annam, and it would have sounded like something an Irish person would probably say to somebody if they wanted them to leave very quickly. So, so it was completely, it was supposed to be an offer of, it's okay if it's not for you, that's fine, you don't have to be a part of it. And it became out as, goodbye, you are the weakest link, goodbye. Yeah, so it went totally haywire, yeah.
Because the intent, and we've said it before, it's there's nobody telling anybody what to do. If something resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, great. Like it's.
But you did.
Yeah.
The three of you said to Annam.
Yes.
The three of you said to Annam, go forth and multiply.
Yeah.
So that was the trigger, Amanda, and you know that's why I think it's great that we've got them here talking about it, and we're all, as you say, Elaine. It can be resolved with humour and understanding, and it has been. What have we got here? I don't know who this is. Oh, Doris. I love the way you're communicating about this now, about something that might have been a bit heavy, and make it light-hearted yet still sincere. Because unless you have a sense of humour, you're not light-hearted. And if you're working with spirit, don't you have light in your heart? Being light-hearted is about having light in our heart. So it's about being kind. It's about not being shabby. And God told you, Annam, that you're not shabby.
And it's recorded. You've got evidence.
Right?
Good. Yep.
You're not being shabby. So you now know this. The whole world now knows this, because obviously this is going to every corner of the globe.
This will be, Helen, this will be the one that has the most views ever.
Yeah. Communicate. Okay,
so now we have another Facebook user. They're very popular, aren't they? Facebook users. Being in acceptance of what is happening gives an opportunity to respond, not react. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what it's about. So hang on, we've got a few comments coming in now, which is really good. I found this happens a lot for me. When I react to a reaction, it's because I don't acknowledge my emotions and deny them and go to my mental for answers. That complicates things more. I'm learning to step back and come from my heart. I love it's being seen with honesty and humor here. Thank you. I don't know who you are, but thank you. They did see it with honesty and humor because they were all threatened with pain of death if they didn't.
Yes. I think we had to sign a contract, didn't we?
You did. Okay. Communicating, this is Marianne, communicating in our hearts and having difficult conversations is where we learn and understand things. Everyone makes mistakes and we can all get through things if we talk it out kindly and if we acknowledge them and take responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing that's happened here. To be awake, alert, aware, it's about being awake to the fact that something has happened, being alert to the fact that you have responsibility for being part of it, and being aware of how you can take that to a resolution that benefits everyone.
Oh, and then the chances would be that it doesn't repeat again.
Oh, that's a bit of a shocking thought. Excuse me,
Oh,
where did that one come from?
If we address it,
I don't know where she got that from.
That could
Absolutely agree, yes, about the light-hearted bit. Doris, can you take Anita away with you, Doris, next time? Because I think she's getting a bit overcome with it all. Elaine says, so now we can practice this all over the place. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know what this is, but yes, we can. Thank you. Thank you, Elaine. Yes, we can. Does anybody have anything that they've been awake, alert, or aware to? No? Okay, that's good. We can just talk to
Goodbye.
Which is what happened with Annam. Annam says, I just want to know this. Yeah. Orla says, well, I'm not telling you. And Annam said, oh, well, I'm sorry, because I just thought if I understood it. And Orla says, well, obviously, you don't want to be part of this, so go away. Politely, not, but yes. So Annam says, okay. And then contacts me and says, have I got to go away from you as well? And that's why we're clarifying the different stages. So let me tell you all, if the EIP team kick you out of EIP, they are not kicking you out of the community because they're not allowed. John won't let them.
No.
He might, but they won't. So I hope that is clear.
Yes, it'll just be another learning experience
for all of us.
Yes,
for all of us. So do we have any questions? Anything that anybody would like to ask us? Have you enjoyed this? Has it been valuable? Do you want to put all four of these people in the stocks so we can throw them? I think they've all left. Nobody's putting any comments.
I think they're all identifying as Facebook user.
I think they are.
Oh, yeah.
It's the new thing.
Well,
here we go. If one of my fears is triggered, it is possible to go into reaction and not be awake. Yes, it is. We're not saying that you have to be awake immediately. It's about, in the moment, we might react, but something will happen. Annam said herself, as she was writing the email before we went live, as she was writing the email, she felt not to do quite what she was doing, but she did it anyway because she needed to ask. She wanted to know. And often we'll do something like that. But at some point we will start to think or feel a bit uncertain or uncomfortable. And that's our guidance prompting us to take another look. And at that point we have the opportunity. If we listen to that and look, then we start the process of being awake.
That's something else I've learned as part of this is about, for me, it's really important that I feel into things because I have a tendency to overthink it. And this is just one example over the last couple of weeks or so where I've realized when I feel into something, it is, like you say, the intuition going, hey, have a little look at this. So that was also really valuable. Yeah.
So Karen says how to clear up or recall the energies. The moment you become awake and alert and you start to look at what you can do about it, that in itself starts to clear up the energies. And in this situation, there was nothing malicious about it. If it's malicious, then that's a different thing. You definitely have to recall the energy. This was a mistake. So this is somebody, another Facebook user. Thanks for the honesty. So good to hear a real conversation. Thank you, because they have been real. I haven't, but they have.
Oh, you're so fake.
We'll deal with that next.
I think it's great that you've come together to bear all. Another Facebook users. It feels real and honest. Pound gold stars to all. Thank you. We appreciate that, because that's what it's about, is learning to talk to each other. I think we've all forgotten how to do that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we're too busy assuming.
Yes, Amanda says, I didn't tell the truth to someone the other day through fear. I felt very uncomfortable about it and then realized I needed to contact the person and apologize and tell the truth. Great. Because in doing that, you've gone through that awake, alert, aware process. And when we do that, we change. We strengthen our sense of self in integrity. Integrity is really important if you're going to be spiritually active. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Noted.
It sounds as if this is Tony. This is my husband. It sounds as if it was a bad hair day for all concerned. Totally, Tony.
100%.
So we just slap them all and then it's over. So, Haresh, when our emotions block out what someone else is really saying and meaning, what could that be about? Well, Haresh, I think both Anam and Orla have answered that by showing that it's not one answer. It depends on the individual as to what it's about. It's about the individual's learning. There's not a standard answer. There's a piece there. And Elaine says, got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you too. And she says, this is great. I had previously felt some pressure to be immediately aware all the time. Nobody, honest to goodness, nobody is immediately aware all of the time, Elaine. Nobody. I don't care who they are. I don't care what they tell you. We all go to sleep on some occasion. No, I'm aware. Okay. So, I did ask, has this been valuable? But nobody's answered. So obviously
it mustn't be. So
it's not been valuable enough. But thank you. And oh my God. I find responding to text, emails when tired, I don't necessarily communicate well. Stepping away to balance, communicate once in balance, creates balance through my communication. My awakeness, alertness, and awareness is joining me to create more harmony. Well, I think I know what you're saying, that when we're tired, we're not necessarily in balance, and rebalancing can change it. But for me, when I'm tired, I've learned don't send texts or emails because
me
they
too.
all go wrong.
Yeah, me too.
Then, as you all know, I have to apologize 2 million times for keep getting it. But thank you. Oh, Elaine, yes. Thank you, Elaine, for thank you. That was very valuable. Thank you so much. I don't know who that is, but I appreciate it. Haresh says it's been valuable. Another Facebook user says it's been valuable, and we got 3 stars.
Oh.
Yes, it's been 2 yeses. It's been very valuable
now.
Yes, it's been really valuable. Thank you so much for your authenticity from Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. Yes, it's been very valuable. And yes, valuable. TK. Thanks, I think.
Maybe.
If you'd like us to do more of this, or if you don't want to do any of it, can you let us know?
Yeah, we'll be making mistakes next week.
Can't wait. Anita, I can't wait.
Hey,
I think Anita's going to come and stay with you for a little while. I think I need time to recover from this.
I don't have any room. Sorry. No room at the inn. Sorry.
What a refreshing conversation. Slowing down and dealing with issues in a considered way is great. This is something that I think would be good for us to start to do is to look at something that's a topic of the time, which I thought we were doing, but I think we got a bit off track. at something practical and simple, such as a misunderstanding or a miscommunication, and let's talk about it and where it goes, I think. But if you don't like it, tell us. Yes,
Well,
valuable, even though I was late, Sarupa.
it's easier to relate when it's something real life, because you can kind of go, oh yeah, I can see how I could be in the middle of that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good that it happened because we've got the experience of, it doesn't have to be the end of it. It's
So what
it.
you're actually saying is that all of this occurred so that I would have something to talk about on my Facebook Live.
Yeah. I did it for you, Helen.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Anam and I had a call beforehand and we did it for you.
Yeah. Well, Elaine's given it. You see, I started calling these Facebook Lives the think tank.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit too, So now it's going to be called the AAA Club.
Ooh.
Like it.
AAA Club. Yes to more, please. Facebook user Glynis. So now we've got an Amanda and a Glynis, but we don't know who the others are. But thank you, all of you. We really appreciate you coming in. And yes, we've been lighthearted, and it may seem as though we're not taking it seriously. We are. It's just better to be able to find a sense of humor in something. There's an old cavalry term, to get over heavy ground as lightly as possible. And I think that's what we've tried to do tonight.
Yeah.
And I think, and I think also for me, it's that thing of like, well, this is the team, this is the team. It's the JTB community, and that's just however, to keep that energy open, through whatever, whatever means, because it's real. It is real.
But I have to say, Anna, 3 people in this are going to be disappearing permanently. Right?
Shot at dawn.
I was going to say, that felt like a threat.
I'm awake and we're alert to this, so I'll just be over there. Right, get a head start.
But no, all joking aside, it is a team. We're all a team. So if any of you would like to participate in any of these without knowing the topic in advance, because that's important. If you know the topic in advance, you'll all swat up on it. And then the spontaneity is lost. Yeah. So I shall carry on doing these, either with other people or alone, depending on who wants to join us. And I'm just not going to tell you what it's about until we start.
Yeah, love it.
And then we can really get into it, can't we?
Yeah. Helen, can I say to everybody what your advice to me? This is legendary advice. When I sent this email asking about, well, am I going to be kicked off the JTB, site or whatever? And then I said, how can I? She invited me, would I like to be on this talk show? And of course I said yeah, and then I said to her, but how do I prepare for this? And her legendary advice was, well, you just scream as loud as you can and then you laugh like a loony. That to me is like, okay, that's it, that's good, I love that, I can do that. Of course that broke the energy, right?
That's what it was for. Yeah, because people worry about doing it right.
Yeah, totally.
Don't do it right. Do it real.
Yeah. Oh, it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been worried about doing things right.
Don't do it right. Do it real.
That's a good one. A T-shirt on sale tomorrow.
In the end, the feedback was really valuable. Great, Amanda. I'm really pleased. So, thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. I hope you've got something positive out of it. It sounds as though you have, and I hope you continue to get something positive out of it. You know where we are if you want to connect with us. We'll be away, but that's fine. You can still try. Pass you. I'm not telling anybody. Tony and I are going to run away because we're out of lockdown now, so we can run away.
Yay.
All right. Take care. Thank you, Anam.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Helen. Ola and Sonia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us as we uncover more of life's errors.
It's true.
Realities.
It's very true.
We'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Don't go, Anna.